Good evening and welcome to Metaphysical Today. I'm Aeson and I'm sitting down with my co-host and also premier psychic of the UK, Hazel Firefly. How are you, honey?
A wet, sweat mess.
Well, goodness, honey. I'm telling you, we need to train. We need to find advisors that live in Australia,
Oh,
and we
God,
can
we need.
rotate out. You can go down when it's cold. I will go down when it's warm.
Oh, it's driving me mad. Sorry, I just had to plug my mouse in. Hi,
Oh,
Brenda.
hello, Miss Brenda. How are you? Ooh. So we're going to get into a controversial topic today, but we have to understand some blueprints and some background first. Before we come into this life, we plan everything out. We plan out who our guides are, what we're doing, who we're loving, who we're sleeping, everything. What's your thoughts on this theory?
I don't believe that theory
Okay.
because if that was the case,
Mm-hmm.
this is from my own point of view.
Right.
If that was the case, they wouldn't have hit me and my auntie with losing so many family members in such a short time.
Well, it's not them, it's us choosing our plan. Like, okay, let's say we're going to go on vacation to Australia together.
Yeah,
We're going to plan out the basic details. When we're leaving, when we're coming back, what we're doing, where we're staying. We may
yeah.
not plan it. Now, if other people join us on the trip, we can't plan when they're arriving, when they're leaving, where they're going, that type of thing.
Things have happened in my life which don't make me believe about before.
Okay. So, how do you justify twin flame soulmates, life partners?
Twin flames is somebody that you meet only one of in a lifetime.
Okay.
Soulmates, you can have up to many because they're not just. People think of a soulmate as a lover,
Mm-hmm.
but I see a soulmate as somebody that you're close to. They
Right.
can be friends or family who are always there for you.
Mm-hmm. Or
And to
animals.
me, sorry?
Or animals.
Yeah. Yeah, like I always say, I have two soulmates.
Mm-hmm.
One is my auntie because she knows what I'm thinking before I even speak to her.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we telepathically let each other know. If she's
Mm-hmm.
down, I know straight away, and it's
Right.
vice versa.
Right.
Soulmate, that's a difficult one. At one point, I did think I'd met my soulmate. Then things went wrong. But for
Okay.
me, I'm happy now with who I have in my life, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, and see, that's why, people get stuck on this, oh, there's only one soulmate per life. Bullshit. If
I
they turn
don't
out to
agree
be
with that.
assholes, you're
Yeah,
going to do it better.
yeah.
We are. Because it's this,
Can I
I
just stop?
personally,
Can I
yeah.
just. Brenda, sorry, we had feedback to say that when we're answering you in the comments, that's it, we've got it now.
Okay.
Because our viewers couldn't see what you were saying in the comments.
Right. Because we're also broadcasting to Facebook and all that.
Yeah,
But no, I personally believe that one, we're in an environment of total love, joy, and peace. So it's like, oh, that'll be fun. But also, I think that, yeah, we are under a heavy influence because we have this altruistic idea
yeah,
of
yeah.
what this class is going to be like, what this summer camp is going to be like. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'll take archery. That's no big deal. Oh, divorce, that'll be lovely. We'll settle it out equally.
My divorce cost more than my marriage.
It's supposed to. But, that's, you know, but like when you're planning a vacation. I don't know. For me, when I plan vacations, granted it's been years since I've had one, it's like, oh, that'll be awesome. Do a 5 mile hike, backpacking across this plain, and then we'll go fishing and swimming for 2 days. And we'll go ahead and, we'll do another 5 mile hike and we'll camp here. And, while we're there, we can take care of this, this, and this, and I'll be able to work. It'll be no big deal. And you get there, and it's raining the first 2 days. So you're soggy, wet, and annoyed. The fish don't bite, so you got to figure out something for dinner. You know,
And that's where we're different. When I plan to go on a holiday, I
uh-huh.
know the date I'm going, I know the date I'm coming back.
Right.
What happens in between is part of the holiday. No plans are made, we just go with the flow.
Oh, Lord, no, honey. Everything's planned out. Everything is planned out. Everything is like altruistical ideas. Everything is like, we're leaving here, we're going here, we're going here. I want to go see this, I want to go see that. I need to make sure I want to go to this restaurant and get this food. Like, it is a full itinerary.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
No. See, no, I wouldn't see that as a holiday.
Mm. See, that, oh, we'll just go and do whatever. Aeson loses his brain. He operates on time.
Ah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Time and functionality and making sure that, like, oh, yes, I can go eat at this restaurant. They have food that I can have. Oh, yes, that sounds, and that's why I like the backpacking thing. Oh, we need hiking shoes, we need rain gear. Like, you got to have it all together.
yeah. See,
Yeah.
Brenda's with me.
Uh huh.
But then I suppose that's where everybody's different and it wouldn't pay to be the same.
No, it wouldn't be, and it's like, you know, every time I've done this off track, off plan thing, like I went to the Mothman area, um, but everything was closed. I'm like, and we just done this like, oh, we can shoot over there and hit the Mothman Museum and all that. Yeah, it was Sunday. Nothing's open on Sunday in that town.
See, that's one problem we don't have here. Everything is open every single day.
Yeah, yeah, that's not how it is here. Um, Last summer we took every Wednesday off. There was a problem. Everything on Wednesday was closed in this national state parks.
See, the only thing that we agree on when we go away is what time breakfast is.
11 o'clock.
No, 11 o'clock, that's the day off. Gone over here.
Uh-huh.
Over here in a hotel, they stop serving breakfast about 8:30.
Right. At the hotel. That's
Yeah.
continental breakfast.
No, it's bloody full cooked breakfast.
Again, it's called continental. For me, it's over here. It's called continental breakfast. You have cold cereal, milk, maybe a waffle or a fried egg. Uh-uh.
Bacon, eggs, sausages, beans, toast, tomatoes, mushrooms.
Call room service.
That is what we call a full English.
Uh-huh.
And that is where you decide, right, should we go here today, should we go there, or should we just do what? And we just go with
Right.
the flow.
Right. Yeah. I don't get that luxury. And it's like, no, especially because I take working vacations.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'll work less, but I'm still working. Otherwise, I meet people and do readings for no damn good reason, other
See,
than
but
they're in my world.
that's the thing. When I'm away, I won't do readings. When I'm away, that's me away.
Hmm.
Because otherwise, it's not a holiday for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's like I can't do unplanned, I can't, you know. I was with this one group. It was a spiritual retreat, and the plan was that Aeson wasn't going to do any readings. He gets there, the Amish girl's in tears about her boyfriend. The repairman, and I'm like, oh, I should have just brought my computer. We have internet. I could have just done readings at night and be left alone during the day.
See, but that's the thing. When I go away anywhere, it's just my phone I have.
Right.
And that's only in case of emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't answer any emails.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will say I am out of the office from until, if you contact me for work, I won't reply.
Mm-hmm. See, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work out for me. And when I get back, my email would be full. And I'm talking, because I just done my email before we sat down and grabbed our sodas. I had over 1,000 messages.
Mm.
And it's like, we ain't doing this.
So that's just the way I do my holidays.
Mm-hmm.
But there's normally 4 of us that go.
Right.
We're all girls.
Mm-hmm.
We cause ructions. We cause mayhem. Because that's what holidays are about.
Mm-hmm. Normally it's just the 2 of us, unless I'm doing a group vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even when it's just the 2, if it's like, no, we have to have a plan or we won't have a holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to soulmates and twin flames.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe you only have one twin flame in life?
See, I personally don't deal with twin flames.
Right.
Okay. Because it comes from a Greek thought and idea that it's like, this doesn't sound quite right to be applying to love and relationships.
I look at twin flames as 2 hearts become one soul.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 people are candles.
Mm-hmm.
They're both burning at half mast.
Mm-hmm.
But when they come together, that's where their flame matches and then they burn heavier.
Uh-huh.
That's the way
right.
I deal with twin flames, if that makes sense.
Well, see, twin flames is part of the idea that when Zeus created humans, we had 4 arms and 4 legs. But we're too powerful as a group, as a joint being with the extra legs and the extra arms and the extra mentality. So he split us in half and made the current human. Is where the idea of twin flames, and you're looking for the other half of you. I'm scared to find the other half of me because that's going to be maniacal. Like,
but then if you look at it at the way of opposites attract,
mm-hmm.
I always see a twin flame is the making of somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mirror image.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll kill him.
I wouldn't go that far.
I will have new rose bushes in my backyard, honey.
They will grow very well.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
But I always get asked, is he my soulmate? So then I'll say, what do you consider to be a soulmate?
Mm-hmm.
And the answers I get are horrendous. The person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. The person that I love. And I'm like, that's not the meaning of soulmates.
Right. And soulmates and soul groups get mixed up a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. But the person, and think of it this way. If you, I prefer the theory that everyone that you have a relationship with is part of your soul group. Whether you like them, you don't like them, they're part of the soul group.
Now, I don't look at that in that way for relationships. My thing with relationships is what don't kill you makes you stronger. And that's the way I think of it. Because I think soul groups could be used in so many ways. And that's where we're all unique in the way that we read and what we see with people, if that makes sense.
Right. And this is a controversial idea. And it's like life partners. Those get mixed up with soulmates so much it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a massive difference.
There is. You know, soulmates, if they're a jackass this life, you don't have to put up with them. If they're the class clown, great, that's cute, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, your life partner is a agreement in this life to build a life with them.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't think my mother ever had that connection because she got married 3 times. I think she just liked wedding cake.
Well, see, that would mean that 3 of her soul group decided to come down in this life. And she has had at least 3 other lives with partners that did not come in repeatedly.
Well, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. Because one of them got her pregnant and then pissed off. Put me up for adoption. So, you know, it's just weird how life is. Everything that's dealt to us is dealt to us for a reason. I am such a great believer in that.
Right. And a lot of people don't like that idea. But no, everything we go through is a lesson for the soul. It may not be easy for human, but it's a lesson that you can move forward on. It's a lesson that you can take back. And it really depends back on that soul plan or soul contract, what your purpose here is. You know, is it to aid people? Is it to work in the humanities? Is it to work in the, you know, understanding what love is, understanding what truth is, understanding what justice is? Because when we're on the other side, we can't understand concepts because we're in that everything's great and wonderful world.
Yeah. I do think the Earth plane is a cruel place to live.
It is. It's a terrible experiment.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know, and that experiment just gets worse.
And Brenda, you're quiet on this topic.
It's not one she chew on too often.
That's one Brenda bolts when she uses.
You know, because if we look at what's put out there, and your soulmate gets hit by a bus or lightning or whatever and chooses to take the early option to get the hell out of here, what are you supposed to do? Sit around and be alone all your life?
Yeah.
You know, or if they turn into being a total asshole.
My closest friend.
Aww.
I will send healing, Brenda, for your pussycat. Bless. My closest friend and my auntie, this is where you're going to find hilarious. My auntie, I made sure I met my closest friend. Because if my auntie didn't like her, that was it.
Right.
Because to me and my auntie are so close. She is the person that I depend on if I need anything.
Right.
Because we are so attached spiritually, it's crazy. And I think that's where people get confused because they feel a connection with a partner. They see that as a soulmate connection, whereas a life partner connection and soulmate are totally different loves.
Right. and totally different views.
Yes. It's the same as when a relationship comes together, this mixing and blending.
Right.
You will have different love for your children and your stepchildren than you do from your partner.
Right. Very much so. And if they start mixing, see a psychologist.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, because I think that's a massive thing as well.
Very much so. And understanding that one love is not the same love.
No, no, definitely not.
Right.
Definitely not.
And it's like, people get so confused, especially when you get into multiple loves, multiple ideas of love.
If
It's like,
you ask somebody what the meaning of love is, and it's very rare they know the answer.
right.
To me, love is about knowing each other inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
It's about compassion. It's about balance, sharing. Love isn't
Mm-hmm.
something that you meet somebody and you think you're madly in love with them because you don't
Right.
even know that person.
Exactly.
And again, I think that's where love gets thrown into things so quick.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many depths of love.
Yes. Yes. And a lot of people use love as a get out of jail card as well.
Well, they think they can get away with things.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not how this works.
No. If somebody says to me one word you can describe love, and I'd
Mm-hmm.
say crazy.
Biochemical reaction.
To me, love is you get on a roller coaster,
Mm-hmm.
you travel all the ups and downs together,
Right.
but you get the same result at the end.
Right.
And I think that's the easiest way to explain it to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds crazy as well.
Not really. And it's a bunch of choices. It's a bunch of biochemical reactions that you have to learn what to do with.
Emotions, I think, is something you've got to learn how to handle
Mm-hmm.
throughout life. And
Right.
so many people can't deal with emotions now because they don't know what emotions are.
No.
And
Or
I think
how
that's a
to
massive
handle
thing.
them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And that's a massive thing as well.
It is.
Love isn't a fairy tale. Life partners are not going to sweep you off your feet. It all
Right.
takes work.
Right. Very cool. Brenda is agreeing throughout the time as she's cooking some chicken for her kitty that's not feeling well. And love takes, just because there is a soulmate connection, a life partner connection, a twin flame connection, that doesn't mean that it's easy street.
No, no,
No.
definitely not. Because life isn't given to you on a plate.
Right.
You've got to go through life making decisions, and a relationship is the same as that.
Right. And it
There's
takes
going
the
to be,
work.
yeah, because you've got to look at all aspects. If one of you lose your job, how are you going to cope financially?
Right.
If you decide to have children, how are you going to cope financially? because that is down to a partnership, not just down to one person.
Right. And then figuring out what to do with it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's all part and parcel of a long-term relationship.
Right.
Because if you can't agree on that, you've got to consider what will you agree on.
And where you're going to agree on it.
Yes. Yeah.
And where to go for it, and how are you going to connect with things.
Yes. Because everybody reads the fairy tales when they're younger.
Right.
But fairy tale is not reality.
Right.
And I think that's where people need to realize
Mm-hmm.
reality is a lot harder.
Right.
Because it's about how you're going to progress forward,
Right.
where you're going to go. Can you visualize yourself being with this person forever?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a massive thing as well.
Right.
Because you've probably heard this as well. I love them,
Right.
but I'm not in love with them anymore.
Right. Correct. And it's like, okay, so what are you going to do with that?
Yes. Yeah. Because you love your family and friends. You're not in love with them, because in love with them is something totally different.
Right. And also, there's this idea that, we talk about all the time in poly relationships that I think other relationships don't get. And that is what we call NRA, which is new relationship emotions. Okay? And I think people get stuck in this because, it's all great and fine for about the first 6 to 8 months of a relationship. And then after that, it's like, you wore that dress last week. You wore the other dress a week before. And then trying to determine, what are you going to do with it?
And that's the thing. The honeymoon period runs out.
Right.
You've been so loved up, you haven't discovered anything about each other in that time.
Right.
So you're starting from scratch again, because that is the time where you learn about each other and what you both want.
Right. And where you want things.
Yes. Yes. And Brenda have actually just said, fairy tales are entertainment, love is hard work and daily choices. And I couldn't have put that better myself, Brenda.
Right. And, daily ideas. I wake up every morning choosing if I'm going to love you or not today.
And the thing is, no, go on, sorry.
And you can wake up every morning, and by the end of the day, I either love them or I hate them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once the wedding have happened and everything falls apart, it's falling apart because you've got nothing to focus on together with now.
Right. And you've
the big buzz from organising the wedding and the wedding have happened. So what have you got to look forward to?
Right. And what are you trying to do?
Yes.
Okay? As far as like, what do you want? How do you want this relationship to be? Because it's cute and nice when it's fun and easy. But when it's no longer fun and easy, you get into trouble.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's when you've got to really dial in just where things need to go. How things need to be.
And I think that's when the real building for the future starts.
Yes.
Because you only build foundations for the future while you're dating someone. The real hard work is after you're married, Because you can't just have an argument, walk out the door and close the door then.
Right.
Because you've got to come to some sort of agreement.
Mm-hmm.
An agreement is not one-sided. It's teamwork.
It is. It's very much a lot of teamwork. And it's like, okay, so now what are we going to do with that teamwork?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because technically that's when your story begins.
Right.
When
and
you
then
date,
it's... Mm-hmm. And
when you
go for it.
when you're dating, you can do whatever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You can go out every night if you want to, but once you're married, you then have financial implications, like you buy a property,
Right.
you need a new car.
Mm-hmm.
So from the day that you're married and sign on that line, that's where your life changes, because you've got to grow up.
Right. And you've got to figure out what you want out of that grow up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And I think that's where people genuinely struggle.
I think it's when they generally struggle. I think it's when they generally have problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's when most people start doubting, have I done the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the thing that I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
Right. Is this going to actually work for me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the general conception of marriage. People
Mm-hmm.
think you're married is happily ever after. Reality is it hell?
Right.
You're going to go through phases of loving each other, hating each other, wanting to kill each other. But that's
Right.
part and parcel of a long-term relationship with your lifelong partner.
Right. And long-term comfortable relationship with that partner.
Yes.
Understanding that partner's needs, wants, desires.
Happiness just can't come from one person. It's got to come from two.
Right.
Because otherwise you're on separate sheets and nothing will work.
Exactly.
And I know that probably
even
sounds
worse.
crazy. Yeah.
Right. It's even worse. I mean, it can get even worse, or it can get even more harder for people to understand where they're headed to, and understanding that, no, this is how this works.
Yeah. Yeah. When people say, we've had to have a break, we're arguing too much, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Have that break, because you will realize in that time period if you're meant to be together or not.
Right. And if you're going to stay with each other.
Yes. Because I think that's a massive thing as well. People
Mm-hmm.
stay in relationships for the wrong reasons.
They stay there for the wrong reasons, and the ones I hear the most is, well, we have to stay together for the kids. What are you teaching your children, especially those of female descent? Naturally born female. What are you teaching them?
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, I'd rather see children that parents live apart, but the children have a better life.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not seeing the arguing, they're not seeing the fighting. They then know how a family home should be.
Right. And they also then know how a family home shouldn't be.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the harder one, is going, no, this isn't how this works.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes courage to make that decision that your marriage ain't working, or you've lived with your lifelong partner but it's not working. People feel they failed, but it's not a case of failing. It's a case of making the right decisions for yourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard for people to grasp as well.
it's very hard for them to rest. It's very hard for them to understand where they're at, what they've done. And we get so often, what did I do? Nothing.
Yeah.
What do I need to do? Nothing. Why not? Well, because you need time to put yourself together first.
Yeah.
And they need time to sort themselves out first before anything else can really happen.
I think with the marriage and any relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to make sure that it don't become a habit or a routine,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's when most relationships hit a brick wall.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
Groundhog Day.
Right. And when it's Groundhog Day, everyone gets bored.
Yes, yes. And I think that's what people need to remember as well. That's when
Right.
things are needing to change for the better.
Right. And needing to get focused for the better.
Yes, without a doubt, because there's no point in living your life
Right.
being unhappy.
Right. And being unfulfilled, unreal, aiming to be where you want to be at.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Don't get me wrong, I don't want everybody to think that the first argument you walk away. Every
Mm-hmm.
relationship has ups and downs.
Right.
That's how you learn so much about each other.
Right. And that's how you also learn what you need from a relationship.
Yes,
Yeah.
because your needs need to be met the same as your partners do. And that's why you need to work as a team to compromise on things.
Right. And sometimes that's compromisation is not easy to go, all right, you can go out with the boys, but not on Friday night. And
Yeah,
then, you need to go find something for yourself to do so that you're not constantly going, well, where's he at? What's he doing? It doesn't matter. What matters are what are you doing about it, and if you're holding to your compromise instead of changing the rules every time you feel uncomfortable.
yeah. And if there's no trust in a relationship, and what I mean by that is when he do go out with the boys or she goes out with the girls, you're clock watching, you're thinking, what is she doing? Who is she with?
No,
If you haven't got that trust, there's no point in having that relationship.
exactly. And if they can't go and have their own life, there's no point in having you in the relationship.
No, no, no. And that's the thing. Some people can come back from if a partner have cheated.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with some people can come back from it, but in the process of that, stop punishing yourself
Right.
by asking yourself, yes, I can forgive, but I can't forget. If you're punishing yourself all the time for something they have done, that
Mm-hmm.
relationship can't work.
Right.
And I think that's an important thing,
Right.
because some people see infidelity as the end of their relationship, where other people, they work at things.
Right.
But then
Well,
that's
not only
again
that, but right, but also with that, um, it may be time to change the dynamics of the relationship.
yes, yeah, because
Okay.
everybody is different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as well, a lot of people has different views on cheating.
Right.
And that's understandable because everybody's been brought up in different ways.
Right.
Just because somebody is talking to somebody of the opposite sex, it
Right.
doesn't mean they're cheating.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people seem to think these days is their partner can't speak to the opposite
Mm-hmm.
sex. But
Right.
if that's
And
the
then,
case, again, that's a trust thing.
well, it's not only a trust thing, but it's like, really, did they get in a
Yeah,
relationship with you to um, be controlled? Like, do we need to get a scouring ring out? and put that on them.
And that's the thing, even when you're married, you're still entitled to have your own times.
Mm-hmm.
They come home to you at the end of the night.
Right.
Just because they've gone out with their friends, it don't mean they're doing anything wrong at all.
Right. Yeah, and then most likely they're not doing a dang thing at all.
No, they're probably glad to get away from the nagging other half.
Well, nagging of the half, nagging of the other half, you know. It may just be that they're hanging out. They're,
Yeah.
having fun. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like learning what is reasonable to expect and what is unreasonable to expect.
Yeah.
Being with your partner constantly in your life, well, that's an issue.
Yes. Yeah. It's not healthy.
No, it isn't. It's not healthy to have the same thing, to be in it, and to do the same thing. Not healthy at all.
No. And that's why relationships become a habit.
Yeah. And then that habit becomes annoying.
Yes.
And then you have trouble because you didn't do the base work.
Yes.
Of communication and talking about lifestyle and lifestyle choices. And, I have seen couples divorce over toilet paper.
Yeah. It's just when they get into that rut, it's that one little thing that pushes them over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that one little thing that then is blown out of proportion and can't be sorted out because everything comes flooding out.
No. And everything just pours out where it doesn't belong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing. I think some people don't know how to say what they need to say.
Right.
I always say, if you can't say it in words, write it on paper.
And some people need that. Like, you have to figure out what type of a learner you are.
Yes.
First.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing, I suppose, is knowing what suits the both of you. And that's why it's important that you put the work in.
Right. And then go forth with that.
Definitely.
And I think that's the high important part there, is to put the work in.
You couldn't. A marriage is like a job that you want promotion in.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't go to work, do the same thing every day, and then expect a promotion. That's not how the world works.
That's not how it works. That's not how it'll ever work.
No. The same as a marriage. You can't keep being stuck where you are because you need to move things forward.
Right. And in moving things forward, it is much more comfortable. It is much more focused. It is a lot much more where you want to be at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And Brenda is really right with what she says there.
Mm-hmm. You need time with your friends, no matter how good of a relationship is. And that's a daily choice. Yeah, you have to choose daily that you still want to have that relationship, or you want to go, you know what, I think I'm ready for a new path.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Life isn't easy at all.
No.
I'm single. I have been for donkey's years, but I still have to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter if you're in a relationship, if you're not, there's still decisions to be made.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I argue with myself all the time because I say, well, that's stupid, so do it this way.
Right.
So I just as well be married to myself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how life is.
Mm-hmm. That's how life gets to be.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
And you need that self-talk also. Okay, of like where you're going, what you're doing, that type of thing, so you know where your direction is. And if you don't have that direction, you don't need to be in a relationship.
I tell myself every day, right, you work till this time, and then you do this, do that, and then I know that's my next few hours. I've got it in my brain with work, what I've got to do in between clients.
Right. And how you need to, like, manifest your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of manifesting going on there.
For me, it's about moving forward, because there are big changes coming. But changes that I know will be for the better.
Right.
Changes that will make things easier for myself.
Right.
And that's all that matters.
Right.
Because I didn't realise,
right,
when Parker came into the world, how much different my life would be.
Well, I think that, part of that is the change of having a child.
Yes. Yeah. And as stupid as this sounds, when he's here, he's my boy. If he needs anything, that's what I'm there for.
Right. As you should be.
In a strange way, my work ethics have changed completely. Not in the way of, I need to do this, I need to do that. Now, work comes second, whereas previously work always come first.
Right. And previously work, and it's like, no, you got a baby. You got to take care of the baby first.
Yeah. Because, and I think that's another thing that gets relationships. You get wrapped up in your own worlds, you forget about each other.
Right. And you forget, but I also think the other occurs there too. You're in each other's world so much there's nothing to talk about at dinner.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would never ever advise anybody to have, how can I explain this? To have a business with their partner where they sat in the same office constantly, go home and then carry on work talk. That's not how it should be. When you leave that office, you leave work in that office.
Right.
And I think that's what people struggle to understand as well.
Well, I think they struggle to understand that, but I think they also struggle to understand a lot of things. Like, me and Joe, when we first started dating, I worked in his living room that was also his office. We've now moved back to being in the same room. The thing is that we're not in there all the time. This is my broadcasting desk. He works early mornings, I work nights. There's a lot of times I'm walking in the office as he's walking out.
Yeah. So what we would call that is passing ships.
Yeah.
But that's what works for the two of you.
It does. And, a lot of couples had a lot of trouble out of the pandemic. We were like, okay, this is Tuesday. Other than who are we sacrificing? Meaning who's going to the store?
Yeah. And that's where you learn to work as a team. You both knew you had your own things to do, but you both knew when the time was right to do it as well.
Right. And that occurs out of just the way we've always been.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it works so well, because you know exactly how to move things forward together.
Right.
And at the same time, that's something that you had to do.
Right. And that's something that was kind of like right there at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, my dear. We've reached the top of the hour. Where are you working this week?
My normal Fortunica and Life Reader. My normal 9 till midnight with my afternoon slot off. because I need that afternoon slot in this weather.
Well, and it's a good time to go take a nap, or go
Yes.
grab a shower, or go do this, or go do that. I'm working midnights. This is where I'm happy at.
Yeah.
There are some evening shifts there, but they're limited. So,
And that's the thing. You've got the balance right.
mhm. I do, and I got psychic. You have to go back and watch Psychic the Plans, because I covered a lot of things about planning and analyzing and all that. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this show. Let me take a moment to thank our baristas. And let's pop that up. Here we go. Thank you, Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, and Maria Myers. If you would like to support the show, please visit tcspnetwork.com. And with that, guys, we will see you next week, okay? Good night, y'all.
Bye.